thank you for tuning in. This is your instructor Joy. Let me first play you a bit excerpt of an etude. This is a little part of Kreutzer study number 4. It's all about Upbow staccato. Upbow staccato is this one. Now I do. So we're doing multiple Upbow, upwards staccatos. This is one of the hardest bow stroke for all of us, for violinists. I remember when I was exposed for the first time with this Upbow staccatos, I could not believe such thing existed, and I struggled greatly. Now I have tried it in my teaching studio, and I came up with a solution that works really, really well for most violinists. So I hope this video will be helpful for you as well. So now, let's understand what Upbow staccatos are. There are two ways of doing it. One, the traditional way, which is an accented staccato. So we're using the a little stiffened upper arm with a little pinch of index finger, which I just played here like the. Let's see if I can do. Yeah. So that's one way of doing it. Second way of doing it is a combination of tremolo and multiple upbows. Tremolos are the one that you put your bow very lightly, multiple times back and forth by just shaking your wrist slightly like that. So when you do that multiple times, but you use more upbow than down bows, and then you create natural upbow speed like that. But if you do this second version of Upbow staccato, because it does not have pinching going on with the index finger, so it does not have this a little more attacked staccato, but rather a little softer, gentler staccatos. Like tremolo. So this sometimes works for people who are having a hard time to do the traditional Upbow staccato version, which is using the stiffer upper arm. Okay, so since this first version using a little pinched index finger and then using a stiff upper arm is a bit harder, so and then that's somewhat more traditional way for most violinists to learn, I'm going to show you how you can achieve that. You can use Kreutzer study number 4 like I play here, or you can do any study. It does not matter which study you study with, as long as you stick to the small sections at a time. Once you're new to any stroke, any technique, it's very important that you practice small section so that you can really focus on analyzing what part of muscle, what part of your hands are really active and what fingers are not active. Therefore, you can focus on those that must be only active. Yeah. So here, when you look at that Upbow staccatos, it looks like I'm doing a lot of work, but what you have to really see what is the most active one, which are the index finger. So make sure, of course, you have to make sure your thumb is nice and curved, right? So that your thumb can just move along. The thumb and the other 3 fingers, which means pinky, ring finger, middle finger, plays a very little role. But the index finger plays important role because it gives a little pinching by rotating tiny bit, yeah, and the thumb. So much so I'm gonna show you. So this is how we would normally hold the bow, right? But except the thumb and index finger, I'm gonna let all fingers go and show you how it works. Now, I'm gonna lift all 3 fingers, and this is how staccato should sound. Yeah? So this is just enough to show you how important it is for you to have index finger really well positioned, which means the index finger has to be really wrapped. So much so the second joint of your finger should be touching the stick. That's quite of the wrapping. Do you see that? Almost like I'm holding the stick. The middle finger plays almost no role. The ring finger plays a little more role, but make sure you're not wrapping it too strongly, but touch slightly. So what it does is most work is done by index finger, but what the ring finger does is it's kind of balancing it, yeah? So without ring finger pressing it down, the bow will always fall, you see? So by pressing or by touching the ring finger lightly, we're adjusting the angle of the bow. So keep that in mind. The ring finger is only in charge of balancing. The actual bow stroke of upbow staccatos happens with this index finger and relax thumb. And the attack happens from index finger pinching a bit like that. Yeah, that's the main one. And another one that you have to remember is, we're stiffening upper arm, which normally we don't like to do. We focus a lot on relaxation of your all body parts, especially when it comes to arm. But we're doing very unusual bow strokes, so we have to, after identifying what part of finger is most active when doing upbow staccatos, make sure you are a little aware of your upper arm being tiny bit more stiff than usual. But that can be simply a little emphasized by raising your elbow a little higher. As soon as you raise your elbow a little higher than usual, you will soon see that you feel a little stiffness on your upper arm. And that's a good spot to start. Yeah. Then another one, near the frog, it's very hard to do upbow staccato simply because it's too heavy. So you have better chance to stay near the tip. So if you have really multiple notes, maybe go all the way half upbow, but do not ever pass that half part, the lower half part, meaning stay as close to the tip as long as possible by using very little bow. Yeah, so this is how I encourage my students to play. First, open string, let's say A, which is easier. Then number one, first make sure your index finger is really wrapped and ring finger lightly touched. Lift the middle finger and pinky, so that you make sure you're not using it the wrong way. Later on, we're going to put it down. But for now, we're making sure that we're using the correct fingering in a correct way. So index finger really wrapped, ring finger just lightly touched, and then lift up your middle and pinky. Then stay really near the tip. Yeah, raise your elbow a little higher. Then you will soon see there's a little weight being carried through your index finger. As soon as you raise your elbow, you will feel a little weight in your index finger. And this is what we need when we're pinching. Yeah, like that again. So index finger wrapped, ring finger lightly touched, and then raise your elbow a tiny bit. Here, so you want to stay really close to the tip, because that's the easier part to upbow staccatos. And then you do it gradually. Pinch, like almost like accent and release. Again. Yeah, don't try to do too many times, just a couple of times. So if you want, you can do down bow with all fingers down, just normally the way you would do normal bow position. Bring it to the tip, lift the middle and then pinky, make sure index finger takes most of the work, lightly touched ring finger, elbow a little higher, then use very little bow, flatter here would be even better, and then a couple times. Again, down bow. When you do up bow, elbow raise tiny bit, index finger taking the most of weight, ring finger lightly touched, and a couple times up bow with a minimum of bow use. And then you would do this one in each string, open string first. Then see if you can apply that one in other pieces. For example, in this case, Kreutzer number 4. So very first part sounds like this. Even though it's written like that, I encourage you to stop before string crossings, so that we have to reinforce the height or the accent of the first note in the new string. Meaning, now we started on G string, but now we have to go D string, which means we have to lower our elbow, but not the usual height of the elbow, but a little higher than usual, because we need this accented upbow staccatos. Yeah. Then here. Then keep going. Then here. Now same note on the same string stays same way, and then pause right before you change the string, so that you adjust the right height of your arm, and then lift your middle finger and then pinky. Yeah, like that. And then you would gradually reduce the pause. Eventually you can do again. when you do multiple upbow staccatos, make sure you always use a very, very little bow, especially here. Very little bow. So I use the whole, let's see how many notes. 4, 8, 12, 14 upbow staccatos, and I use only this much bow. You see, I didn't even get to the halfway. And you have to really try that one hard. The reason being is if I use too much bow, it's no more on the string, and that's it. There is a such stroke, but that would be different bow stroke, not upbow staccato. So try really by using really little bow. Yeah, so if you can do that, that would be great. So sometimes stopping helps. Stop, stop, stop. Now, and make sure you still have not going too far from here. Also same idea. Like that. So here, like any other new technique, be very patient. Don't push it too much. Remember, when you're exposed to a new technique, your muscle just need time to learn and just get used to it. Yeah. So I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you again. Bye bye.